Well, hello. Hope you're enjoying the new intro, but you're going to miss the hand dancing, I bet. Anyway, here we are, Countdown to Restoration, episode 42. And our critics didn't think we would make it. I'm Danny Thompson, here to tell you all the things you need to know and some things you didn't know you needed to know. But here we are, as we are chronicling down the horrible days of the resident thief in chief. Wait a minute, where are you? You complain and then you don't show up. Must be part of a union. The thief in chief. The thief in chief. Yeah. The thief in chief. You are? Wait. Screen Actors Guild? Who knew? It's on the screen. I guess so. All right. So here we are to count down their policies, tell you all the evil they're doing, all the horrible things, all the weird things, strange things. The mixed up world of the Biden regime, but we do have this bright spot.
Steve Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Steve Austin will be that man. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Rachel Levine.
I think Oscar would have quit after that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, yes, the poster child for the Biden regime, Dr. Rachel Levine. And we have some news that he or she may or may not like today as we get our bionic eyes on. I'll go back down. You're not that important. South Carolina Democrat introduces bill banning minors from undergoing sex reassignment surgery. So yes, somebody has some sense around there. What else do we have? Yes, we have this about the American Equality Act. What's the difference? Listen to this.
Just last week, after the Washington Correctional Center for Women began housing prisoners according to gender identity, half a dozen men transferred into the women's prison. One of the inmates raped a female in the women's prison upon arrival. If you pass this bill, you can expect hundreds more victims like this one. And that has nothing to do with transgender people and everything to do with opportunistic self-identification by violent male felons. Just last week, after the Washington Correctional Center.
Don't know why we keep going there, but we did. Sorry about that. Yes, so that's what happens because, I can name several young men from my high school days that would have identified as girls to go to girls' PE. To get to use the locker room and everything else. And I didn't know where to put this, so we put it here. I don't know what's going on with my stand. I'm sorry. We've got a little problem there. We'll adjust it here. I didn't know what to do with this, where to put it. Ghislaine Maxwell case details too sensational and impure for public, judge says. So, other words, ain't nobody gonna name any names when it comes to Epstein. All right, we're gonna keep all this quiet. Yep. That's the way it goes, ladies and gentlemen. We're never going to know, are we? No, we're not. We're not going to know. If you want to know what is guiding the Biden regime, go to seculardems.org. Read the guidance paper by Secular Democrats of America trying to institute a godless, abortion-prone, intersexual society that is just horrible, and working hard on it. Although we don't have the slide. Ron DeSantis said it's not happening in Florida. California wants to turn your children into militant leftists. Aren't they already? I'm confused. All right. California's Board of Education is expected to pass on Thursday's divisive and radical educational curriculum that would force a series of courses into the public school system based in critical race theory and the social agenda of the left. All right. So basically, they're going to be teaching everything you've learned in history is racist. If you're old, of any age, everything you learned, everything in our past and prior history is racist. That everything about we develop a system of racism to keep people enslaved and down. That's why all white people are so rich, and so we need to discredit everything, especially Christianity, because Christianity in the hands of white people is obviously a dangerous thing. So, and hopefully, you need to call your state and your Board of Education, see what they're doing with your educational process. Senate narrowly confirms Xavier Becerra's Health and Human Services Secretary, the man we like to call Mr. Abortion himself. Yeah, he never met a fetus he didn't want to abort. And so that's good news, isn't it, if you work for Planned Parenthood? And even those of you that may be, well, I'm pro-abortion, but with limits, he has no limits. Up to them. I think his limits are, hey, long as they haven't left the delivery room, they're open season. Supreme Court conservatives want to topple abortion rights, but can't seem to agree on how. Just can't figure out which case to take, which stands to take, etc., etc., but they are working on it. What else do we have? Oh, this from nice and green for St. Patrick's Day. The Biden White House asked staffers to resign over past marijuana use. So the report says, what else? How many? Where is it? Where are we? Come on. There's Jen, about the only time you'll see her today. I'm either sorry or happy for you, depending on which way you stand on Jen. White House says 5 staffers fired over past marijuana use amid new policy. Well, it is illegal on a federal level. It's still a drug. I don't have a problem with it myself, but it's got to be confusing to those staffers as we go through the dark winter of the Biden regime. Winter's almost over, but the chilling effects will last forever and ever and a day. Just a quick foreign thing here. We're having that big meeting with China up in Alaska. U.S. official accuses China of grandstanding intense bilateral talks. Yeah, we're just not getting along. Not getting along. So anyway, we'll have more on that after the weekend, which would be Monday. This is an interesting thing. I don't understand this. House Republicans raise serious ethical concerns in effort to overturn 6-vote victory of GOP rep in Iowa race. Now this woman has won. She's been certified. They've done recounts and everything else. She won. And the House, they can do this with anybody. They can vote to unseat anyone, okay, basically. And they're thinking about voting to unseat her because she only won by 6, or if you're going the other way, it would be like this, wouldn't it? 6 votes. 6 votes. So I don't know why you would do that. They don't. Why is that right? COVID news. Yes. Oh, let's get that straight. Biden administration, still not straight, finalizing plans to send millions of AstraZeneca vaccine doses to Canada and Mexico because we're not using them. Of course, they're going to come with strings attached to Mexico at least. And they have identified why AstraZeneca vaccine is causing blood clots. I don't know if that's going to help anybody or not. We just did you. Go away. People they're just hungry for their time in the spotlight. Okay, this from Dr. Mark Siegel from Fox. Lockdown, school closures may be one of the greatest crimes of the 21st century. I agree, Doc. I agree. All these closures, one of the greatest crimes of the 21st century. We'll never know the full cost of it, how many kids will suffer the rest of their lives, how many suicides there have been, how many people, drug overdoses, how many people have lost livings that they'll never get back, how much abuse, how many people just feel lost. We'll never know the total cost of these lockdowns. It will haunt us for years, if not decades. Biden says U.S. will meet his promise of 100 million COVID vaccine doses ahead of schedule because that's one shot in one arm. And that's good. Hey, get everybody vaccinated so we can have those 4th of July parties. Looking forward to it. We were reporting on this yesterday. They were talking about doing this. There's no way this wasn't going to happen because the Biden regime wants teachers to think it's safe to go back to public schools, which it is. It is. All right. But so they lowered the distance from 6 to 3 feet, which I don't know how you can measure it anyway because absolute answers are racist. Yeah, so 6 feet. I mean, it could be 2 feet, be 1 feet, be no feet. And I don't know how many public school teachers can measure between 3 and 6 feet anyway. Has yet to be determined, but we have a lot, and you were working in rehearsal and now you won't work. I don't understand you. You're really making me upset. I don't know. Do you work? No, I don't know what they're doing. We get them up. We're going to have the Petticoat Junction theme, but for some reason, it doesn't want to work. I don't know why. All right. Now, I normally, because things can happen to people misspeak. And a lot of things that Biden has misspoke on, if you listen to it carefully, it's just a mistake, or sometimes it's just him talking. I try to be honest on this. And maybe he just had a bad day walking. I know a lot of people are focusing that he called Vice President Harris President Harris, and he's referred to her as that before. And, that can just happen. You're talking. I mean, everybody thinks if somebody just messes up, then something's wrong with them, or, oh, you said this. Nobody's perfect. But this, yesterday we played the little green screen controversy with the microphones, which just looks weird as all get out. Why don't we get out? I don't know. But this, I don't know. Presidents have tripped going up the stairway into Air Force One. They've tripped coming down, But take a look. That's as bad a fall as I've ever seen, and I'm sure maybe there's been worse, but maybe, the cameras are on you and you're trying real hard to get going. I mean, that's pretty bad. Is that because he's going down physically, or is it just an accident? I don't know. I don't know. Was he going too fast? I mean, just sometimes we just don't know. They're not going to tell us. All right. More Joseph Biden news. The pretend president, he and President Harris, or Vice President Harris, playing along. travel to Atlanta today to meet with Asian American leaders in wake of mass shooting. Now, Biden urges Congress to pass hate crime legislation in response to violence against Asian Americans. And reportedly, this is up, and it's because Trump said China virus. But I've got some problems with this issue, not overall, but as related to this shooting. And I'll show you at the end of this. I mean, it's like they finally found something they can point to. And so it's like, okay, let's get this in. Statement by President Biden on the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. Jill and I share the nation's grief and outrage at the horrific killings of 8 people, among them 6 Asian American women in Georgia on March 16th. Now, it wasn't just Asian American, but I guess I don't know from any experience at all. I don't know people that go to these massage parlors and different places. At least they don't tell me they go. All right. I don't know what type of what race of women works in these. Obviously, they're going to be predominantly women, unless, of course, you're going to gay places, and then it would be predominantly men. I don't know. Apparently, a lot of Asian women work in this field. All right. So, number one, if somebody's going into sex locations, there's going to be women, and if the main race that works there is Asian, it's mainly going to be Asian women. All right. Okay. Now we've got that. Listen to this. While we do not yet know motive, as I said last week, we condemn in the strongest possible terms the ongoing crisis of gender-based and anti-Asian violence that has long plagued our nation. Now, see, this is what this administration does. Come but don't come, which we got an article on that coming up. Oh, this is probably not about really just hating women or hating Asians. It's about another problem. It could be, but we've long stood against women and Asians being, treated violently, especially Asian women. So we're just going to take this and run with it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, this is a horrible shooting. If there is increased violence against Asian Americans, that needs to stop. Obviously, violence against everybody, women included, needs to stop. But don't lie. Don't take advantage of these situations to push your agenda. All right? While we do not yet know motive, as I said last week, we condemn in the strongest possible terms the ongoing crisis of gender-based and anti-Asian violence that has long plagued our nation. I urge Congress to swiftly pass the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. Excuse me, allergies are just getting me. Which would expedite the federal government's response to the rise of hate crimes exacerbated during the pandemic, support state and local governments to improve hate crimes reporting, and ensure that hate crimes information is more accessible to Asian American communities, etc. Let me get the next slide. I'm just... I thank Senator Hirono, Congresswoman Ming, and Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus Chairwoman Chu, that's a lot to say, for their consistent leadership on this issue and for their persistence in standing up for America's values by standing strongly against anti-Asian xenophobia and hate. During my first week in office, I signed a presidential memorandum to condemn and combat racism, xenophobia, and intolerance against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States. Okay. We're getting to the end of it. Aren't we? Where are you? Where'd you go? There you are. I directed the Department of Justice and the Department of Health and Human Services to help lead our nation's efforts to stop anti-Asian bias, xenophobia, and harassment. Now it's time for Congress to codify and expand upon these actions because every person in our nation deserves to live their lives with safety, dignity, and respect. And I agree, but don't we already have hate crimes legislation on the books? Did it exclude Asians? Did it exclude times of pandemic? But no, we don't even know if this is a hate crime, but we must have that because we've got, and I mean this, I don't mean this unkind, we got fresh bodies. We've got fresh bodies. Now, this is from Alive, but we have corroboration. There's the killer. He said a sex addiction is why he killed Asian women. That's what he said. It's what he told police when they arrested him. Let's get it big. Police say 21-year-old Robert Long is now in custody in connection to a shooting rampage that left 8 people dead Tuesday. This was March 17th. That was Wednesday, right? They said the Woodstock man admitted that he planned the shootings, indicating that sexual addiction may have played a role in his motive. Both local and federal law enforcement agencies have joined in on the investigation but have not yet declared an exact motive. Because him saying that doesn't mean anything. Because the White House wants the motive. They need this, they need the situation. This just gets horrible. However, police have said they are investigating whether the killings are racially motivated, as many of his victims were Asian women. You see what they do? They're just, it's always just looking for something to fit the narrative, even if they have to bend it around. From the Wall Street Journal, Atlanta shooting suspect told police he targeted massage parlors because of sex addiction. That's what came out at first. How come it went away? All of a sudden it's no, he was targeting Asian women. So we've got to do all this. You can't trust anything, ladies and gentlemen. The killer will eventually say, oh, I think I don't like Asian women. Then why did you go to them and anyway, I don't know. If you ever seen the movie Be Cool, it reminds me of a scene where the hero, or is that an anti-hero? I don't know how you call that. John Travolta is sitting there talking to Aerosmith's Steven Tyler, and he's telling him the real reason that he wrote, I forgot the name, the Emotion song. It's a real emotion, true emotion, whatever it is. You know, great song. And, of course, Steven Tyler says one thing, and the John Travolta character talks him into a whole nother thing. It's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, but we don't have time to stay there because we must make a run for the border. And I don't have all my props because for some reason those two will not work. I'll have to redo them over the weekend. It's just... Oh, what do we have? Biden's Homeland Security chief heads to border as child migrant surge gets worse and pressures increase. Secretary Mayorkas. But we do finally have someone realizing the problem in the admin, and it's kind of related to this.
Así que yo creo que es muy importante subrayar el caso que la frontera no está cerrada y el viaje es muy peligroso y la gente realmente no debían llegar a los Estados Unidos en una manera irregular ahora.
You're telling them not to come.
Because, again, this is we assume she misspoke. But they would always say, don't come now, but give us some time, we'll get everything in place, and then you can come. which means people are just coming. So, after question after question, after moment and meeting and meeting and meeting and meeting, they're finally coming to this conclusion: U.S. to push more aggressive messaging in effort to deter migrants. They're finally learning they may have to change their speech. I don't know, where does slide number 2 start? Oh, wait a minute. Wrong slide, number 2. Yeah, here we go. All right. The U.S. government will be more aggressive in telling migrants not to come to the United States, a top U.S. official said on Thursday, after earlier warnings failed to stem the flow of thousands of Central Americans to the U.S.-Mexico border. The message isn't "don't come now," it's "don't come in this way ever." Roberta Jacobson, the White House's Southern Border Coordinator, told Reuters in an interview, the way to come to the United States is through legal pathways. Don't come this way ever, ever, never. Don't do it. The Biden administration's message to would-be migrants has become stricter in recent days amid intense criticism from opposition Republicans that Biden's relaxation of some of Trump's policies have encouraged people to come to the United States. You think? You really think? Biden officials initially said migrants should not come to the United States now. We've heard them millions of times. But that they could come later. In an interview with ABC on Tuesday, Biden took a firmer stance, telling migrants don't come. Excuse me, and that they would soon be able to apply for asylum in place. Jacobson echoed that tougher tone on Thursday, stressing that the policy of the United States was to expel migrants trying to cross the border illegally. And of course, this is just going to keep them coming, with the exception of unaccompanied children. But she acknowledged that as a U.S. official, her warnings might be lost amid the deception of people smugglers who are telling migrants the border is open. What are they saying? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, we didn't know we were going to do this one. Where is it? Yeah, they're saying it's what? Yeah, the Mervyn's lady. All right. Oh, yes. Should not come, but telling them that the border is open. Yeah. Oh, come on. Nothing's working. You people need a vacation. You're not doing a good job for me today. She said that the United States would step up its messaging effort using social media, radio, and non-governmental organizations, GMOs, in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, where they're also telling people stop bringing cocaine into the U.S. to urge migrants not to travel to the U.S.-Mexico border. We're going to be more aggressive, more agile about getting our message out. We're going to try and combat the smugglers' messages and make sure that people understand the truth, she said. The U.S. State Department spokeswoman said that effort was underway and included radio outreach in Guatemalan indigenous languages. U.S. border authorities caught roughly 100,000 migrants at the border with Mexico in February, the highest monthly total since mid-2019. Roughly 4,500 children were being held in border facilities as of Thursday, an administration official said during a call with reporters, a slight increase from Sunday. Yeah, it ain't going down anytime soon, especially because you're still doing the wrong messaging, folks. While Biden officials have said migrant families will be expelled to Mexico or their home countries under a Trump-era health order known as Title 42, more than half of the 19,000 family members caught at the border in February were not expelled, with many released into the United States. See, that's not helping. That's almost, 10,000 people. Jacobson said the expulsions were limited last month by a lack of capacity in Mexico to receive them. Those numbers are going to change, frankly, from week to week, but the policy is that families will be expelled, she said. But if you can't do the policy, then why are they going to stop? And allowing unaccompanied minors isn't going to help, because this guy said this.
We are hoping to reunite the families either here or in the country of origin. We hope to be in a position to give them the election. And if, in fact, they seek to reunite here in the United States, we will explore lawful pathways for them to remain in the United States and to address the family needs. So we are acting as restoratively as possible. I am very...
Because migrants keep saying, we're going to send the kids. We can't get any other way. It's the best way to get in. And we don't, I didn't save all the articles, but they're saying, no, we come with them so far, and then we send them on by themselves because they've got to bring us in. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to make your voice heard, or it's going to keep happening. Now, we're going to go back to coronavirus. I never know on time, and, this isn't obviously really part of our assignment here. But I want to bring this out because this just, you knew it's going to happen sooner or later. Maybe it already has. Exclusive New York City judge removes 6-year-old from mother because she didn't wear a mask while dropping her off at school. There's the mom. A New York City judge has removed a 6-year-old girl from her mother because she did not wear a mask while dropping her off at school. In a shocking and egregious move, the court also told Dr. Epstein that in order to get short supervised visits with her child, she will have to wear a mask inside her own home. I mean, this is quite a story, and we're trying to, I've got a lot of inside information for you here. But I thought this was important. It was a normal day for Dr. Micheline Epstein, a family physician, when she went to drop her daughter off at the Burke-Walton Lennox School on the Upper East Side last week, until her entire life was turned upside down in an instant. The tearful mother explained in a phone call that her daughter was already inside the building and wearing a mask when the school nurse and school security attempted to force Dr. Epstein to wear a mask on the public street in front of the building where drop-off takes place. Dr. Epstein refused. He never refused a school nurse anything. No one got physical or anything. She just refused to wear the mask. They were outside on a public sidewalk. Dr. Epstein's boyfriend, Jeff Gutenplan, explained, adding that the daughter was wearing a mask because they were required to go inside. The mother explained that the school nurse had come out and was aggressively demanding that she put on a mask, but she was already leaving and did not accept it. The next thing I know, my daughter is taken away from me, she cried. Yeah, well, gotta wear that mask, I guess. Dr. Epstein separated from her daughter's father, and they had a shared custody agreement, a custody agreement where the child split times between the homes equally. The divorce, however, has been bitter. Well, the woman wouldn't wear a mask. What's he supposed to do? Following the confrontation at the school, Dr. Epstein left, but would soon find a letter from the expensive college prep school sent to her, her estranged husband, and the attorneys for both parties. The school was demanding that Dr. Epstein was no longer permitted to drop off or pick up her child from the school. That wasn't already bad enough. The father used the notice about the mask situation to request an emergency hearing for full custody, which Justice Matthew F. Cooper granted after berating the already emotionally devastated Epstein, I'm guessing it will say. Let's clear this off. All right, so that's where are we at? 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're here. All right. Tuesday, Dr. Epstein was not permitted to see or even speak to her daughter, even though it was her 6th birthday. To get 2 supervised visits with her daughter per week, she will need to wear a mask inside her own home. Dr. Epstein said those who wish to help her can email the school and the judge. There's the stuff. To help advocate for her, she has also launched a Give, Send, Go fundraiser to help cover the mounting legal expenses. The only thing I want is for people to stand up already and stop with this nonsense, Dr. Epstein said, still attempting to mask. That's good writing, isn't it? Still attempting to mask that she has been crying but unable to contain the complete heartbreak she is feeling. I mean, that's just horrible. Did we? Oh, yeah, we skipped a thing. Okay. Sorry about this. Situation to request an emergency hearing for full custody, which Justice Matthew F. Cooper granted after berating the already emotional, devastated mother. She's the love of my life, Dr. Epstein told the Gateway pundit while trying and failing to hold back her tears. It's horrible. Please help us. Now, this is really stupid. Additionally, the court decided that the mother is not permitted to remove her daughter from the expensive school and told her that she does not have a choice in the matter. She is currently working 3 jobs to pay for not only her daughter's expenses, but the 6 lawyers she hired to fight what she is referring to as the kidnapping of her child. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just bad. You know, this stuff just bad. I don't. How do you know what? Maybe there was more. We don't know. Nobody else responded to the reporter's request for anything. Man. COVID has hurt so much, so many. All right, it's Godformation time. There was not a press conference today because everybody's traveling to Atlanta to save Asian women. And so can't do it. There'll be a press gaggle later, but we must move on here. We have a schedule as much as anybody else. A little homage to Rush Limbaugh there. The late, great Rush Limbaugh. All right. They keep getting bad news on the border. There's people, they just know it's not going to stop. They are now trying to avert questions, but change the interest on the border. They're, saying they're going to change their messaging. They really want it to stop in the press briefings, etc., and they just want it to burn out. But it's not happening, is it? It's not happening. And so they just, this is killing their whole agenda. They can't function. It's just really, I meant to have picture of Ambassador Jacobson when we first saw her compared to when we saw her the other day. Was that yesterday? I mean, that woman's had it. This is taking a toll on her. All right, it's Friday, so it's time for the planners. And, this is really strange. With all the really strange things we have. What wasn't that strange yesterday about the cryptocurrency plans? I mean, that's just still, it's just overwhelming my mind, but we have more. See, the planners, they meet on Fridays, if you're new to the show, in the White House basement. They did this during the Obama administration. And they plan for ways to tear down the church because Christians, especially white Christians, are the biggest obstacle they have to implementing their agendas. And also they plan to tear down Israel. Well, one of the things that they want to do is that they want atheists more involved in chaplaincies and visiting places as ministers would visit. And their thought is that the dead and dying do not need help, so they don't need religious people, because if you're terminally ill and dying, especially in a hospice setting, you're just going to die. And if you're already dead, why do you have to have anybody religious there? It can be an atheist. You don't have to have Christians there or rabbis there or anything like that. Okay? So they want atheists to go into hospice and urge people to enjoy their last days, because that's all there is and is to know. And if there was a God, that basically he would have made himself known by now. They wouldn't be sick and dying, etc., etc. Of course, they bypass a lot of information. So just enjoy time with your families. You're going to die, and be grateful and be happy. This is it. John Lennon's Imagine comes to mind. No hell below us. It's easy if you try. So imagine there's no heaven. You can imagine this all you want, ladies and gentlemen. There is a stark reality to life, and it's not lightning. Who created the lightning? Who created the atmosphere? Every answer they have creates more questions. So and then, they already have atheist chaplains in the military. That's right, their religion is atheism. Chaplains are to be tested to see if they have absolute views in the military, and I guess other federal agencies. Do they believe in God absolutely? Is there a heaven and hell? Is there a right and wrong? If so, they are to be offered to resign or to come into line with the new military. Minority religions may be exempted. So Muslims, Hindus, etc., they could keep their views, but Christians and Jews couldn't. No, because it's not minority religions in this country. So you would have to come into line that there are no absolutes. And so basically you would have to adopt an atheistic or at least a humanistic point of view, so that you could counsel people and preach to them and teach to them. So, of course, that will help in accepting gays and transgenders and everything else that you want in our modern, we're ready to fight military, as long as we all get to do our nails first. I don't know. I was thinking, it's just a confusing time. Now you've got men singing Stand By Your Men, and women singing, what was the song I had for women in my head? It just left. Men singing Stand By Your... Oh, yeah, because I heard the song today. Can't you see what that woman has done to me? Yeah, it's just... I don't get it. They are looking to limit what people on government assistance can give to churches. Now, you can go buy whatever else you want, other than alcohol, I guess. I don't know. The new tax credits are to be used against the church. So, if you are a couple or, a family making under 120 or whatever, and you start getting these $300 plus a month child tax credits, they are looking at ways to limit what you can give to churches, because obviously some of that could be money for your kids. And so, probably started at first, you can stick to what you were given before, but you can't add since you're getting this. Anyway, that's and a lot of these plans aren't going to see the light of the day, but they are working on them. They are also looking to limit salary for ministers and rabbis, as the ministry would have to pay a penalty over certain amounts, percentages and different limits, just like they want to do to chief executives who make 20 times over what the ordinary worker makes of their company employee. I don't like the term worker, because as of yet, we're not the United Socialist Soviet Republic. All right? So we still have employees. They're also looking at limiting and phasing out deductions for those that give to non-accepting religions and organizations, because that's discrimination. If you're ministry or organization or the church that you go to, if they're not an accepting religious group, then your gifts will not be tax deductible. So you can go to the church down the street where they accept everything, and then your gifts would be tax deductible. See, it's all about using money in everything, as we learned yesterday with the the plans for the cryptocurrency. And so it's like, no, if they don't allow same-sex marriages, if they don't allow transgenders to teach Sunday school, except you just go on and on, people who live together but aren't married, the list is getting never ending. And so I'm sure somewhere there's like, oh, we don't mind transgenders, but no tattoos. I don't know. But they do not want those gifts to be tax deductible, and they do not want those churches or organizations to be tax exempt. So it's all working together. Now, Israel. After the elections, there will be an aggressive push to link aid to Israel, military aid, etc., to the two-state and original border solution. So, Trump had moved away from that, but the Biden regime wants to go back to it, and they want to move Israel back to their 1948 borders, which would exclude Jerusalem, and they want to move them back to the two-state option, where the Palestinian, well, I guess it'd be 3 states now, because Gaza is controlled by Hamas. I don't know how you work that. So you'd have a 2-state solution with Israel and the Palestinians, and then I guess a 2-state solution between the PLA now, whatever it is, and or is it just PL? I don't know. And then Hamas. So I don't know how that would work. But they're tying all military, they want to tie all aid, military aid to that. And as long as Iran is looming large, they know Israel will not rest. So they are waiting and looking in on, trying to figure out what kind of incentives will work with Iran, payoffs, whatever, through a third party to get Iran to stand down against missiles, etc., which I'm sure isn't going to happen. But they're trying to find out how much cash, how many other things, what Iran needs to stand down until they can get Israel more in hand. It wouldn't be permanent, but anyway, that's the way it goes. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Again, it's just a mixed up, tossed up, incredibly messed up world. And this regime is not helping. And so we end this Friday just saying, God bless America. Call in and get your Congress, your representative, your member of the House of Representatives, and your senator call the White House and tell them, I mean, they're just not going to stop. And they're trying to stop the illegals, but, you know, their problem is, just felt like having one more little bit of music here, if we can find it quickly. Their problem is that it's gone. What do you people do? Oh, here it is. And here it is. Yeah, they're lost and found in a border town, so they're not going to get these people to go away, especially if they keep telling the kids, come on. And we're going to try to fix the come on down and other things. I don't know what the problem is. We keep running into union regulations now that Biden's the thief in chief. All right, so time to go. Get you off a little early for the weekend. And I thank you for watching. Please feel free to share. Feel free to comment. Let us know how we're doing. Unless you think we're doing really, really bad, then, you know, be kind. Be kind. I bruise easily. Anyway, God bless you. Pray for the country. We'll see you Monday.